So I'm divorced. Thank you. Which just makes it kind of awkward living in Utah, you know? Because if people at home don't know, we do marriage here. But our divorce rates are above the national average. So the people who've been through it, they get it, they're cool. But the people who haven't are awful. Because they all react the same way when they hear you've been divorced. They're like, oh, see, I could never do that. Like, I don't believe in it, divorce. Like, when I get married, I'm gonna make sure it's to last. It's like, oh, thanks for that self-esteem boost. So much wisdom for a 19-year-old. Like, those of us who've been divorced didn't think it was gonna last, you know? Like, we got married for some other reason. When people are like, hey man, why'd you get married? I lost a bet. Thought the Utah Jazz were gonna go all the way. Stupid. No man, I used to get dragged out to go do single things. They'd take me out to go clubbing, which is my absolute nightmare. I never liked the club dance. And you know why? Because it's creepy. It's the only dance in the world where you don't actually have to, you know, ask. Or at least gesture. May I have this dance? Not only do you not have to do that, they don't even need to see you coming. They don't even know you exist. Till your uninvited nudge sneaks up behind them. They turn around, there you are, creepy as possible, like, hey. I hope this is okay. I assumed it was. Oh man, I was just awkward at the single scene. Like, there's no way I'd be in a scenario where I wouldn't make it weird, you know? Like, if I was lucky enough to get a girl's number and I called her, even if I got her voicemail, I'd screw it up. Because I'd always want to listen to my message after I left it. You ever done that? You ever listen to your recorded voice? Who is that? For some reason, my recorded voice hasn't gone through puberty yet. Like, I'm trying to leave the most masculine message I think I'm capable of, you know, hitting the bass notes. I'm like, hey, what's up, Stacy? This is Pete. Why don't you call me back at 949-679-5662. To listen to your message, press 1. Hey, this is Pete. Call me back at 949-679-5662 of a girl's night out. I don't think I said that last part. I'd hand the phone to my friend. I'd be like, dude, that doesn't sound like me, does it? They're like, dude, what are you doing? What's going on? Yeah, that's you. That's you, buddy. That's... No, man. First dates, those are always a train wreck. I didn't know what it is about a first date. You know, we're always so nervous. We say more than we need to. You ever notice if you're on a first date, if you have to go to the bathroom, you're like, I have to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Why do we say that? Are we that insecure? Is that something that really needs to be established? Have you ever been on a first date where you might not be right back? Have you ever been on a first date where you're like, oh, man, listen, I gotta run to the bathroom and I'm gonna be honest. Could go either way. Here's 20 for an Uber just in case. But I'm remarried. You know, it's a normal marriage. You know, we bicker about normal things. Like, she doesn't like the way I drive, which I think a lot of women don't like the way their husbands drive. And to be fair, I looked into this. It's because we crash way more. That's why our insurance premiums are higher. And it's the direct result of an overconfidence behind the wheel. Because guys, we're so dumb, when we spin out of control, all the way up until the actual moment of impact, we're like, I can save it. We can't, but we think. And I've crashed quite a bit of vehicles. I'm not bragging. But going through that a few times, you know, you learn how to stay calm. You know, you don't panic. You get used to it. But one of the cars I crashed, I had some ladies in the vehicle. And you could tell they weren't used to it at all. Because they made a lot of noise. We're halfway through this unplanned 360 on the freeway. They are freaking out. I'm like, ladies, relax. This happens all the time. So I get it. You know, we've earned our reputation. I get why you're nervous. But that being said, ladies, you're not perfect. You're not batting 1,000. Because one time I was in the car with my wife. She's driving. I'm in the passenger seat. We're coming up to an intersection and we need to turn left. And there's a semi coming and the light turned yellow. Nothing suggested this semi was about to stop. As a matter of fact, I think it sped up to make the light. And what did my darling do? Turned right in front of this thing. And right away, I was like, I'm gonna die. This is it. This is how I go. And did I panic? No. My training kicked in. Little did my wife know, I'd been preparing for this moment for years. No, what did I do? I reached for the I'm about to crash and die handle, pressed my other hand up against the ceiling, pressed my back really firm against the cushion and hit that imaginary brake pedal with my foot. I was like, oh no, oh no. Oh. This thing swerves on a dime. It misses us by inches, goes barreling into the gutter, almost took out a tree. The craziest thing I've ever seen happen, immediately afterwards, she turned to me and went, I can't believe you did that. That didn't help me. What? I saw you tense up. That didn't help me. I'm sorry, I didn't know we had our helping hats on just now. I thought we took them off when you decided to play chicken with the semi. Not something I'd expect from my favorite little helper. Oh man, but I love her, I really do. You know, and I try and do the romantic stuff, you know what I mean? Like, I know a lot of girls like flowers. She makes it easy on me, man. She just likes the single stem rose, but I don't get any of it. To me, it's like leave it in its bush. It's happy there. And I asked her, I was like, why do you like this? She said, well, it's a symbol. It represents our marriage and how it's blossomed. I was like, a symbol of our little situation. Let me tell you where my mind goes when I hear you say that. That I took you from your family and thus severed the vine that fed and supported you. Placed you in a new environment where I can barely support you. And slowly over time, I'm gonna watch you die. Sounds romantic. No, she cracks me up, man. The other day, she said to me, she's like, you should shave your legs just to see if you like it. Let me explain something to you. From the waist up, there's nothing happening. I'm like a baby. It's bare. But the legs, total opposite. It's a nightmare. I'm like a fawn from The Lion and the Witch in the Wardrobe. Like, come Halloween, I don't need a costume. I just show up in my birthday suit with a couple little horns and a flute, and I dance around. Oh, man, but we're a team. We're a team. We got kids, and our youngest son has autism. And I'll be honest with you, it does not bother me at all that he has autism. No, it's the things that other people say that get on my nerves. Because I'll get this from time to time. I was talking to this lady. Came up, he was autistic. First thing out of her mouth was, is he high functioning? As if that doesn't put me in an awkward spot. Because they never stop and think, what if he's not? Before they ask that, you know? They just fire off a question at the top of the spectrum. Then I gotta figure out what to do with that. Is he high functioning? Well, I wouldn't say that, Karen. But based off the social skills you've displayed in this conversation, I don't think you are either. Now, I'll get, every now and then I'll get somebody else say, you know, we shouldn't call it a disability. Like, they're trying to help. You know, they're like, we shouldn't call it a disability. We shouldn't think of it that way. And it's like, look, man, I don't need you to sugarcoat it for me, all right? And besides, he better have a disability, dude. He bites me. Like, really hard? That is a special needs exemption only. I don't like the way that people react to you when you take your autistic kid out in public, you know? Because kids on the spectrum, they're loud. They have no awareness. So if they flip out, they don't care they're in a grocery store. But the way it looks to everybody else is just a regular kid that's totally out of control. So every now and then, somebody will get brave and say something, but there is nothing better than the moment you let them know they just criticized the kid with autism and seeing the look on their faces, they absolutely panic. It is so satisfying. I throw it out there whenever I can. And sometimes it doesn't apply 100%. But come on, what are we splitting hairs? Because I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, he's autistic. And they're like, okay, but sir, you still can't be in the women's locker room. We'll see about that. No, man, but I'm glad we're out, you know? This pandemic's been stressful, and things were heating up for me right before the pandemic started. I hit a milestone with comedy. Get this. I finally got to a place where I did not have to donate plasma anymore. Yeah. It was a big moment. Oh, man, that was a drag. It was twice a week, every week for a year. That's a real high point in your life. When you go to buy groceries, if you're wearing a t-shirt, you got to explain the track marks in your arm to the cashier. You're like, what? Oh, no, I'm not a drug addict. No, I'm just a failure. Please bring up my powdered milk. I remember this time I threw my account in the negative, and I didn't think it'd be a big deal. You know, I don't think I understood what I signed up for when I opened the account, because it was just a $1 transaction and a $2 transaction. Well, I thought, well, I have overdraft protection. I'll just pay back the $3 and everything will be fine, right? Wrong! No, they fined me $30 twice because there's two separate transactions. So I called the bank. I was like, what is this? I thought I have overdraft protection. The girl was like, oh, you do? So I was like, well, what's with the fines? This is honestly what she said. She said that is to discourage people from being overdrawn on their account. Well, that's not overdraft protection at all, then, is it? That's more like overdraft punishment. That'd be like replacing a car's driver's side airbag with a brick to discourage people from driving carelessly. No, but I love being a comedian. I didn't know what I wanted to be for a long time, man. I used to want to be a paramedic, so I got EMT certified. And yeah, that would have been a train wreck, because a week after I got certified, I was coming out of a grocery store and out past the parking lot on the street. This girl on a bicycle got hit by a car. Boom. She immediately went down. Bike was destroyed. She was in horrible shape, and this huge crowd gathered around her. Right away, I was like, it's time. This is what I trained for. That lucky little lady doesn't realize it, but Captain Qualified is here to save the day. So I made my way through the crowd. I got up to her and I said, hey, miss, you okay? My name's Pete, and I'm an EMT. I felt like we were off to a good start. Here's where it fell apart, though. I wasn't ready for her reaction, because I thought she was going to be like, oh, my arm really hurts, or my neck's in a lot of pain, you know, like a normal person. It's not what she did. She threw me a curveball. I did my part. My name's Pete. I'm an EMT. This is exactly how she reacted. She went, so am I. And then we just stared at each other for like 8 seconds. I was so caught off guard by it, I couldn't figure out how to settle this little tiebreaker. So I just went, okay. And I slithered back into the crowd, made my way to the back, and got out of there, man. Everybody who was watching was like, what was that? Did you see that guy? I thought he was gonna help her. Apparently he was just making sure their certifications were up to date. It was weird. Whatever, man, I left her where she lied out of my respect for women. Because she clearly told me she was qualified to handle the situation. And I didn't want to mansplain why that was irrelevant at the moment. Oh, man. I'm a very different person off stage than I am on stage. Because I'm just an awkward guy. I'm actually more comfortable doing this than just having a conversation with somebody. Isn't that weird? Which is why when people see me do or hear that I do this and they haven't seen it, they're like totally confused. Like I worked with this girl back in the day. She heard I was a comic. She came up to me. She was like, you're a comedian? I was like, yeah, been doing it for a while now. This is exactly how she reacted. She went, I just don't see it. And then walked away like she was disappointed in me. She was like, he's awkward and dishonest. I don't appreciate either. I couldn't believe it, man. You know, you can't just assume based off a simple observation you think you know something about somebody. You can never assume. Like, for example, if I'm 99% confident that a girl is 8.5 months pregnant, unless I actually see the baby kick, I don't say a word. Matter of fact, I take it back. Unless I see the baby press its face and hands up against the womb and slowly slide it down the front of her stomach like the wall of a haunted house. Keep that congratulations to myself. No, but comedy's a good outlet for me, man. Like, I got a lot of pet peeves. Ever since I was a little kid, I've always been that way. Just weird things bug me, you know? Like, was it just me? Or did anybody else want those awful little kids just to let the Trix rabbit eat his tricks? He is a Trix rabbit. He has no other purpose. And he'd get so close, man. He'd get a hold of a bowl, dunk the spoon in, get it right up next to his face. His pupils would be rapidly changing different fruit shapes. He'd have this look in his face like, it's happening! And then right before he'd bite down, one of those little brats would swipe the spoon, take the bowl, then run back to their friends who would eat his tricks while they laughed as he watched. They were like, silly rabbit, tricks are for kids. You ever wonder why you don't see that rabbit anymore? Because he became an alcoholic. He lives under a bridge somewhere because they messed that poor rabbit up. And it drove me insane. I just always wanted to see somebody mess the kids up. It would have made me so happy. It would be the best commercial ever. Like, I could have done it. Like, if I was their parent, I saw them pull that nonsense. Afterwards, they came running over to me like, Dad, give me a hug. Be like, silly middle child. Love is for firstborns. You're an accident. I'm glad we're out, man. I'm glad we're doing this. It's just too stressful. I had a moment during the pandemic when things kind of shifted for me, you know. It was at the peak of our first wave of infections. Before we knew anything about it, you know, we were all just hysterical, terrified. Like, you couldn't get toilet paper for 30 miles. And they were like, no matter what, don't touch your face. You know what I mean? Like, don't at all. We were all just walking around like Will Ferrell in Talladega Nights, like, did faces always itch this much? I'm so stressed. We thought it was everywhere. And I was going into a gas station to buy a Red Bull. And the guy ahead of me was checking out, I was next up, and he was paying in cash, which, by the way, is a pandemic party foul. Look, I don't know why I use the term party foul. It makes it sound like COVID's the hottest hangout in town. Like, great pandemic, Becky, but who's that weirdo who brought the cash? Party foul! But I go to check out. She just got done fondling all these dirty dollar bills. I put the can on the counter, and right away, sure enough, boom, she just palms the top of the can. All over the rim, right where I'm gonna be drinking. I was just like, You know, like on the outside, you're like, how much is it? But on the inside, you're like, So I get it. I'm in my car, and I'm just like, dude, I really wanted this Red Bull. You know? And I was like, you know what? Forget it. I can't keep living like this. So I just cracked it open, and I drank the thing. And, you know, fortunately, I was okay. But wouldn't the irony be absolutely insane if a Red Bull did me in, and the next thing I know, I'm floating up to heaven in the angel getup, looking at the wings flapping behind me like, no way. It really does give you wings. I grew up Mormon, but I never went on the Mormon mission, which some of you hear that, you're like, what happened? No, man, but listen, I give those guys a lot of credit, man. That's a tough gig. You know, they take a lot of flack. Because outside of Utah, nobody's excited to see missionaries. You know what I mean? Nobody's looking out their window, sees those dudes on mountain bikes turn up their street and goes, oh, yay! They're here. This is when everything changes. No, they can't close those blinds fast enough, man. Which I think that's where the government really dropped the ball during this pandemic. They were all stressing out, how do we get people to comply with shelter-in-place orders? Just send missionaries rolling through the community. You will see these neighborhoods locked down in record time. Which, by the way, wouldn't that be an epic visual? If the next pandemic's like the big one? Just total apocalyptic collapse of society. Nobody dares come out of their homes, and the only ones rolling through the streets is missionaries in gas masks. Like, did we not warn you these were latter days? I don't know why I throw in the British accent. It just makes me happy. Hey, that's it for me, you guys. You were amazing. Thank you so much. Hey folks, thanks for watching my Dry Bar special. I had an absolute blast shooting it. It's a lot of fun. If you'd like to leave a tip, I was a little nervous about asking for it, but my wife was like, don't be insane, ask for the tip. You can hit the button below. Feel free to donate. We'd appreciate it. It was so much fun doing this. I was on my best behavior just for you folks. Thanks again.